Okay, so we have not really been outside since the weather has been so crappy. Hasn't it been pretty rainy and wet and everything?
Yeah, but I don't like this rain because it's stormy.
You don't like the rain because it's stormy. Now that the weather is on its better days, we're gonna go ahead and start getting the garden prepped. So this is our first year, our first season doing gardening at this specific house. So we have some budget tips for you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and share them. My kids' gardens usually grow my earlier, smaller yield kind of plants. So I'm gonna show you today how we prepped them, and then we can
Start building.
So these little buckets, I don't even know how many gallons they are, but I mean they're pretty big, pretty sturdy. They're the ones with the yellow tops. We just got them for, actually these were here free at the house.
Beautiful.
Thank you. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some holes in them. One of them is already done and prepped, so I can go ahead and show you guys that after. But I am gonna go ahead and screw in some holes for drainage, just because they're not prepped for a garden, but they're cheap for a garden bed because I'm not paying for one. Yeah, so these filled up with water our last storm that we had, and they haven't drained. So, well, this one at least, this one has. We actually have already started planting stuff, so I'll show you guys that in a second. But I'm just doing about 3 per side, just to have a constant drainage. That's pretty good. Oh, sorry, flower fell and I thought it was a bug. Well, this one's already prepped and the soil is ready. It's already been worked too, because this one wasn't out when the storm was happening. So I'm gonna go ahead and still drill the drainage holes, but I'm not worried about any water coming out right now. No, I am not a skilled carpenter. In fact, I have a screw and a piece that doesn't even fit properly on my drill, actually my husband's drill. So these are on the back side of our house. This is the only portion of our house that gets any shade. We don't have any trees or anything. We did at one point, or the property did at one point, but we have power lines that actually go through our backyard. It's just customary where we're living at. And so many of the trees end up having to be cut down for hazard purposes, and if not, they look atrocious and not like trees. So these are the types of things that I like to try and grow in their gardens. We don't eat a lot of this stuff, so we don't need a plethora of it. So right now I have a few carrots in the corner. Again, we're gonna do the other bed with some more. And then once the season starts to get a little bit warmer, we'll stop growing some of these things. And then we'll go ahead and add our like flowers and different stuff like that. And sometimes I'll even like add a couple flowers in the corner or something, just to have a little bit more color than the greens that we're gonna have. So right now, just parsley, cilantro, carrots, spinach, lettuce, radish, and onions are growing in this one. A lot of people, I'm in zone 6B, so a lot of people like to note that onions in this zone can often not reach their full maturity in hot climates like that, and they do need quite a long time to be able to get to their fullest potential before they start to bulb. So these ones are going in super early, and we're just living on a prayer here because I have no idea if they'll actually survive in this garden. So the soil is pretty moist, so we have no issues with that, and there's drainage holes in there now, so it should do pretty well. So that is what we're growing in the kids' garden for right now, but I am going to show you what we're growing in our big gardens and kind of how we're getting ready to prep for those. So I have already shown you guys what the plants in my kiddos' garden. I want to kind of talk about our plans before I show you our next set of seeds that we're going to plant. So basically, like I said, this is our first season, our first year in this house. So this is gonna be our first garden that we're gonna be growing. I've lived here before, so I'm very familiar with how much sun we get, the temperature, so it's not something completely foreign. So we save all of our own seeds every season. That way we can plant the same over and over. And we kind of do how heirloom seeds are, where you pick the best of your harvest to save the seeds from and then plant those the next year. So that's what we do. This year, I'm a little worried, I'm not gonna lie, about how these specific plants will do at this house, just because they were the seeds that did well in our old home. The plants that are in my kids' gardens are just our easy, small yield plants, or ones that I've never tried before. And I direct sow everything. I have a very, very bad streak of transplanting, and my plants always get transplant shock. It just ends up working out easier for me, and I feel like I can plan ahead when I need to plant them, and that way I'm kind of on a schedule for my early spring, mid-spring, late spring, early summer, fall harvests. So with that being said, I also wanted to show you guys some stuff that I got to plant around the house, and I'll explain why. So we don't have any landscaping that was here before. There were no trees. There was only like a couple of bushes in the front yard, and that's literally it. So I went ahead and got these at Aldi. These are the Begonia Collection Pastel Mix, and there's 3 bulbs in here. It's perfect because I can plant them right now, and I probably will. It's supposed to rain this week, so I think I'm gonna wait until after the rain, obviously. But that should be like around the 1st to 2nd week of April. So I am one of those people, I don't really care where I get my seeds. As long as they're like non-GMO, I don't really care. I think that they all did the same thing. If you've had a different experience than I have, let me know. But for my own personal experience, I think that it's a waste to spend so much money. I grow my own stuff, and then once I grow a certain thing, I just take the seeds from those, and then I don't have to purchase them again. So I'll kind of show you what I have set up. Okay. So I got this for Christmas from my parents, just because I'm super unorganized. I've had this bag for like 4 years. This was like my first bag, and I just keep using it as seed storage just because it's dark on the inside. I got these from the Dollar Tree, and sometimes I like to use these for like the kids' little flowers and stuff. You kind of the setup. Ziploc bags. Sorry guys, but it doesn't always have to be super aesthetic. And that's just the reality of it. So I'm going to show you really quick how I do everything. Again, I'm not a professional. I just do this, and this is what works for me, and I've had great success with it. So I'm just going to share that with you guys. So these are some of mine that I've collected. This one is easy to collect. So these are like, again, I collect all my seeds. So these are super old seeds, and I don't think you're supposed, literally this is from 2020. I don't know how long you're supposed to, it says that you can store them for 5 years, like saving them themselves. And sometimes I'll just add them in here. I also might be adding some more stuff to the garden. I'm not too sure yet. I am thinking about doing strawberries, but I'm still kind of teeter-tottering between what kind, how I want to do it, and if it's worth it. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any suggestions for things I should plant in the garden this year in Zone 6B, we are going to be trying to grow nopales, cacti, specifically prickly pear, because we want to eat the tunas, the flowers, the fruit part of the cactus. So we are going to take you along on that journey, and hopefully we can get somewhere with those, especially because I kind of wanted to break that down for you too in another video about growing cacti in the winter. So if you guys want to see more, let me know. Anyway, love you guys. See you later. Bye.